Hello and welcome to the Fred and Horse live stream. We have a fantastic show already coming with the confetti. I love it. We have such a great show. With us today is Colby Fayock, my good friend. Colby, how are you doing?
Yeah. I am doing quite swell. How about yourself?
I'm great. I love that we have to come out and pretend like we weren't just talking for like 10 minutes back there. But you know what? The chat's like, I'm sure they just met. As soon as that intro hits is when we are connecting and I go, hey, can you hear me? Is my mic okay? Can you see my screen? So we do all that.
Right.
We'll do all that.
The only thing that they missed was the awkwardness, where we're just like staring at each other, wondering what's going on.
We avoided eye contact the entire time. I was looking at the ceiling to make sure I didn't, trigger you or anything. But yeah, no. Ben with the pun already. Kobayashi Meru. I love it. I love it. Ben. All right. That's it. We're done, folks. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for coming. All right. It's not gonna top that. Fantastic people in the chat. Anthony, Ben, Thomas, Brent. I think it's maybe someone else here too. Mike was here. Yeah, just fantastic people. Thank you for being here. Great. I'll take my leave. Thank you. Colby, you and I think you are among my oldest internet friends that I like, that I correspond with often in this.
So I'm just an internet
space.
friend.
You know what? I'm trying to make it clear.
We met offline.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So Colby and I met at a Wes Boss. He's this he's this like up and coming YouTuber podcaster guy. A Wes Boss workshop on Gatsby. We were both in it in Philadelphia, or no, in New York. And yeah, we just happened to meet in there. I remember you were wearing a Darkwing Duck shirt, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. And yeah, I got it right here, buddy. I got it right here. I remember where you were sitting in the room.
I guess I really made an impression, didn't I?
We hit it up. I mean, you were one of only 3 people with Darkwing Duck shirts, so it was pretty easy to remember. But okay, I'm missing some good stuff from chat. I don't know, Ecommerce, fantastic people. Everyone's just being fantastic in chat. I love it. Just some really great people. Eleventy's here. Good to see you. But yeah, so we've known each other. We've known each other for a couple of years, and it's just been fantastic watching you go from like really knowledgeable person who writes for for Free Code Camp to being just this like, I mean, you've always churned out content. Whoa, Ben, thank you for that gifted sub. That is super kind. And Anthony gets a sub. Awesome. Anthony, welcome to the subscription zone. I got to work on that. But no, you've gone from being like this person who I just saw writing an article every week to being someone who is now putting out like a video every week and a course, and you have a workshop coming up and still an article every week. And it's just been great knowing you, talking with you, and getting to know you better as you just become more and more of like a household name within the Jamstack community. And I'm thrilled to have you on here, man.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And likewise, it's been awesome to see you, kind of build this horse-based platform, which
pun-based platform. But yeah, horses are the medium. Yes.
There we go. They're the medium. I would have said that they're the large, but it's okay.
Okay, that's fine. Nice. But yeah, man. So we've been pals for a while, and it's just great to have you on, and I'm really excited to get into something that I think you are kind of an expert in, which is e-commerce, Jamstack, SnipCart, Next.js. You've taught me a whole bunch there, and we're going to be adding Prismic in. So do you kind of want to outline the project, or we can kind of like tag team it? You can go,
sure.
You can go for at least like the tech parts, and I'll sprinkle in like the content nonsense that I've added.
Yeah, sounds great. So we're going to build this upon Next.js. So we're going to start off by using create next app, but we're going to start from a template just to, kind of get some of the UI in there that isn't necessarily special for what we're trying to show off here. But then we're going to update some static data that we're pulling in for products to Prismic so that we're dynamically pulling it in from a headless CMS. Once we have all that product data in there, including all the fun things, that Alex has in store for us, we're going to actually give the ability to purchase those items with SnipCart and actually make money, right? So
Yep.
that's where the profit comes in.
Yep. That's exactly what we're gonna do. And
Literal profit.
chat is going to buy our fake goods, and you know what?
Yes.
I will put in a JSON file somewhere that you own it. I've been told that this is the Web3. It's what I do. So I don't know much about it, but if you pay me money, I'll create a JSON file and say Ben Myers owns this JPEG of horse paste. So yeah, I'm happy to engage with Web3. We're all about Web 3.1, all the webs here. But
All the
yeah.
webs.
Oh shoot, Adrian, it wasn't on the calendar. Oy, I need to get better about the calendar. Adrian, thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate that. Might be a little too late right now.
I see how it is. I see how it is.
I just
I'm
didn't want
not on the
anyone to
calendar.
know. You're a secret stream on the side. I don't want my main boo knowing about Colby.
Your mainstream
I'm
boo.
busted. Web3 is an Excel spreadsheet. We save an email back and forth. That's what it is. That's what it is. Cool. So, where do we want to start? Oh, also, first off, I do need to. I think chat has a good point. I think we need to maybe adjust my lights to be a bit more like yours, so we can match. Matching's fun. People like matching, so I'm going purple too, baby. All right.
Love it. Love it.
All right, we're there. So let's switch over. We can look at the desktop view. So I've got this starter, right? So this is from a workshop you did or are doing or are about to do. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so this is actually the starter that I'll be using for my workshop on Thursday for Jamstack Conf, and we'll also be installing SnipCart there, but it'll be more in depth and such. And I'm going to save the good parts for that. Or wait, I didn't say that out loud, did I? But
wait, what? They're paying us here. No.
But essentially, it's just a starting point where we have like what we'll have is like a basic product grid and dynamic page routing for those products, just so that we don't have to spend the time doing that particular part, since we'll be talking more about the e-commerce parts.
Awesome. All right, cool. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and grab this.
Yes, sir.
Just like that. All right. I will head over. I think I'm in Happy Click.
I see. Grab the NPX version.
Yeah. Is that, or do you want me to get yarn? I mean, you
I'm
put
just
it first. I'm just going.
Fair. That is a fair yes.
All right, cool. So, need to install.
So if you're not familiar with the Next.js world, which I'm sure, have you had Next.js on here before?
Yes. Yeah, we've had
okay.
quite a few. I'm trying to think of how many.
Cool, okay.
At least 3, I want to say. So yeah, but continue, because not everyone's familiar. So
fair. So what it's doing is it's currently pulling down that template project and it's installing all the dependencies, as well as resetting the Git history so that we have a nice fresh start with our online store. Awesome. So now we can cd into that directory.
Awesome. And then I'm gonna do a little, just having that open in a window. Cool. And I'm gonna do npmi, or do we do run? Yeah, we have to,
no. So it already installs the dependency. Yeah. Yep. So all we have to do is npm run dev.
All right.
And that should spin up to the local server, and hopefully things will go well.
Just check in the terminal, and chat, let me know if I need to make anything bigger.
There we go, compiled.
Always happy to embiggen anything. Nice. These are really cool.
Yay!
These are very cool. Is this
I figured it was a fun thing to what?
Is this all CSS that you did, or are these images?
No. I was thinking about doing that, but then I just decided it was like too much for what I was particularly doing. I eventually want to do a tutorial where like I show how to do that in Cloudinary or something, but yeah, that's beyond the point here.
No, well, I mean, for this, I feel like, yes, that'd be like a cool tutorial just to have, but for this, you can definitely do this in CSS, and then it would be actually readable, right? I mean,
that would be awesome.
It would be screen readable. Screen readers. Yeah. I always struggle with those words, with the words. So yeah.
But Alex, they're physical products, right? So we don't have CSS versions of physical products.
That's a good point. These are supposed to be physical products. So that's a very good point. This is awesome. Though.
But
great.
Yeah, I just kind of grabbed like wiki information and dumped it in just for something fun to start off with.
Oh, so you did design the cards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Whoa, Amit,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that sub. Great to see you. Thanks for coming through. Ben says he streams accessibility, and I fail to say screen reader every time. Yeah, just like it'd be, you can read it, but with the, so yeah. But yeah, Amit, thank you so much for that sub. I greatly appreciate that. I can't wait to have you
So
on again.
yeah.
Be soon. So
S-
yeah, so do you want to kind of walk us through this project? How is this working?
Sure. So most of the application is pretty typical Next.js.
Okay.
The more interesting parts are going to be inside of the pages directory, where we'll have our typical homepage, where if we want to open that up in index.js, as we kind of see here, it's a React component that's going to build out that UI based off of product data. And if we look at the bottom for get static props, which is what we're using for grabbing that data. Oh, my bad. We're actually pulling in that data statically and looping through
Right.
it. So we're not doing get static props in this particular
We
page.
will.
However,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna.
But also, if we go to the product/product ID, this is where our dynamic routes are going to be coming in. And now, if we actually go down to the bottom, we can see we
Cool.
have both get static props and get static paths, where we're building out that array of paths, which is telling Next.js what pages we want built out. And essentially, we want a page for every single one of our products, right? So we're
Right.
building out each one of those pages and then taking that parameter, which is the product ID, and using it to find that specific product from the product data, and then using that to populate the React page component,
Awesome.
which is what gives us our page.
So we send back
And
that product, and then we have the product here, and then we pull the title
yep.
and other things off of it.
And as we can see, like there's literally nothing wired up at this point. It's just like static UI. There's nothing really special, but that's the hope, is that we have a starting point from this where we can actually start to integrate things like pulling in the dynamic Prismic data and actually adding the shopping cart with SnipCart.
Awesome. Yeah, because the data right now is all coming right from here, and we've got an ID, title, price, image, and allegiance. That's a very important detail.
Yes, very important.
Such a nice touch. Awesome. And components, kind of standard. You got a button, you got a container. It's a container like for.
It's more just for
page.
styling to keep the page in. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
Header
pretty
layout.
basic. Yeah.
Awesome.
The header has also like a little snippet commented out, because part of my workshop I'll be showing first how to add, which we can even do here the way we're doing it, is I'll be moving from like a single page to like a global page installation. So we can even see that here too, where we can uncomment that out and see how to make it in the global navigation. Just the way that SnipCart works for actually loading the snippet on each of the pages.
So, what do you mean?
Did I lose you?
Global to single? Yeah.
So like having
like-
just a store on the homepage versus having the ability to add products across the entire site. So like when you're loading the script, ultimately we're going to be adding the SnipCart SDK via like a script include.
Okay.
So like to start, we can do that inside the homepage so that we can see what exactly that looks like for adding it. But additionally, we can load that globally so that we can do that wherever we want inside of the application.
Okay, got it. So we'll have to. So like right now, this wouldn't be wired up, is what you're saying?
Correct,
Because
correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense now. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm ready to get into it. So basically, chat, we're kind of starting a little bit ahead, and then we're going to kind of like gut it a bit to come back to less of a finished product, and then we're going to build up again. So we're here, we're coming here, and then we're going to go there. We're going up. We're just going to go up. So hope that's really clear.
Be going.
Yeah.
Very clear.
I hope you know about your elevation right now. Cool. So where should we start? We've got on the thing that we're going to outline the project. Let me just update the order.
What is the default starting elevation of front end horse?
Oh, we're 10, baby. We're always
10?
Okay. Up there, and then horses don't do good going downstairs, though. I think that's the thing. So they have to take the elevator.
Gotcha.
This is what it is. Yeah.
Well, that's why you have the space jelly here, so that can
That's
help you
what
go
it
down those
is.
stairs. So bad.
That's awesome. Cool. So we started our Next.js app. Let me walk through the Prismic content that we've got waiting in the wings. Let me see. Horse supplies. So I went, kind of a little like, I don't know, felt a little wild and wacky. And I did like this horse theme thing. I don't know. I've been kind of into horses lately. And so what I did was I made I made two custom types, right? And if you're not familiar, custom types are Prismic's way of saying the shape that you want your data to be. So for the product, I came in and decided that it needs a UID because we want to be able to say specifically, I want this product. And that'll help us with what you had over here when we're getting this product ID. That'll allow us to tell Prismic, hey, we're looking for this exact ID because that's what the URL is giving us. And so that'll map right there. And the U in UID stands for unique. So it'll be the only one in the whole repository. And then the title of it and a price in cents. That's important. They even put a little placeholder text there so that no one comes in here and starts putting decimals anywhere in my stuff. So we'll do a little math on the front end to display that a little bit cleaner. Is that the way SnipCart does it? I'm not sure. That's the way I've always been told to do it, is do it in...
Sorry, which part?
The price in cents. So in other words, $5.99, not 5.99. We can transmute it and send it to SnipCart however they want. I'm just curious.
I think the way that I have it implemented is with the cents, but I agree that a lot of times you do see it with the full, because the goal there is that it helps with the like actual translation of the value between like as you're sending it through data and back through data, and then you also have currency, right? So like there's a lot of transformations that could be happening with that value. Yeah. One thing I do want to also point out is the product ID. So one thing that's interesting, and it's not really going to really impact us here, but sometimes teams, when they're managing products, they'll have both like an entry ID where this is going to be the data entry ID, and then they'll have a separate actual product ID entity that might be descriptive to the product in like a more of a English way, right? Where it would be like, you know, the product ID might be horse something something, right? Where because since that UID might be able to change on the back end, such as if you're like going to a different database or something, like you'll still always have that unique product ID that's going to represent the history of your e-commerce. So that's not going to really matter here, but figured that I add that little brief snippet in.
No, that's great. And Prismic supports internationalization. Like it's one of the features. So it might be cool to even check out how we would do what we're going to do with internationalization built in. Like that's a whole other kind of project, right? If you're looking to sell, say, in America and, I don't know, England, you're going to need very different copy, right? Like add some U's in there. Like it's gonna be a lot of transferring.
It's rough.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to change a lot. So Prismic's got you covered with the internationalization, and that'd be fun to explore.
Prismic supports English US and English UK.
And even Canadian English. I mean, like we're really no. We support all kinds of different regions and everything. Previewing a page, any way to do this, Antho? Yes, there is. I don't know if we're gonna get to previewing today, but yes, you definitely can preview a page with Prismic. That's fun to say. Let me see. Is it in the technical reference? Content changes. Preview content changes. Here you go. Yeah, so there's a whole preview feature, and it uses it integrates with Next.js's preview feature, which is like an API that you hit, and it should outline it here. So like preview.js actually triggers something with Next.js, I believe. Set preview data. Yeah, I don't know. So it's all there, but we're not going to get into that today. But great question. Cool. Let me head back. And we were doing right. I was looking through this, and so we've got a description, and we got an image and a category. The category is going to be so I got that pretty much from your allegiance thing of Bowser or Mario. So it's just gonna be like a category where I think it's like medicine, food, and tech. Which Mike in the chat, who's going to be on Ben's show in a little while, he taught me is like stuff for horses. I don't really know the full difference, but I just put everything else that didn't fit into like food or medicine as tack. So yeah. Yeah, so that's our product field. And thank you for the feedback from the chat. Thank you, Andy. I made it a lot bigger. Thank you for letting me know. And then category, it's just what I said. It's UID, title, description, and we've got a couple categories here. So I've made category tech, category food, category medicine, and I've added 2 products. We've got this. It's just this dewormer. It's this thing that came up on.
It's my favorite flavor.
No, Colby. Colby. The description, the directions say very clearly, for the love of all that is good in this world, this is for horses, Colby. Yes, it is apple flavor.
I can have peach flavor. But I can have peach flavor.
Do not ingest this paste, Colby. It is for horses. All right. They're selling out everywhere because it's not for you.
Well, what do I do with the tub that I already ingested?
Just give it back. Give it to the horses, my friend. So this is a product. I inserted the UID, the title, the price is it's kind of a steal, honestly. Description and the image and category medicine. And we also have some food, and we can add more. I've only added. I can't believe this is ever a thing. It's the worst timeline, Nino Pepper. It's just the worst time. the fact that we have to say that. Anyway, yeah. So I've added 2 products. We can add a couple more products as we go, but it's kind of wanted to put some in there to start, and then we can start to pull those in. So we want to add Prismic to our Next.js app.
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm actually realizing it's not super clear on the docs, at least not to me right away, what we add. So it looks like we just add Prismic client, and then we might need Prismic DOM a bit later. I'm checking this demo, Prismic React JS. Like, I feel like we should add a few more of those up front, but maybe not. So I'm just going to install a few things. Yeah.
Do you think the React is needed if we're going to do client-side requests as opposed to the client is just for the requests?
Good question. So the client is for the requests. The Prismic React JS, and I'll make this bigger for chat, is mainly for like the rich text component. So turning what's a JSON object into bold text and italic text and links and all that kind of stuff, because rich text is a bit complicated. It's not just like normal string. So that is mainly to that's like one of the main things that does. Take care, Antho. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
But yeah, great question as to whether or not we would need that. So I'm going to do npm I Prismic and then Prismic React JS. And we are in the middle of revamping Prismic React JS. The alpha is actually like kind of done. We're just working on the documentation right now. And I love the updated version. Our friend Angelo Ashmore, who created the Gatsby Prismic plugin and who is now on our team. He's fantastic, and he rewrote a bunch of it, and it is really nice. Awesome. Cool. So added that, and we're running dev now. And so
beautiful.
Yeah, right? So we got that back up and running, and I'm going to kind of steal the way that this is configured here. So all I'm in is the Prismic Next.js website example, and I'm just going to kind of grab a lot of this because this is nice boilerplate to start with. So like we're starting with Colby's boilerplate, and then I'm kind of like stealing from a different boilerplate. I support it. This is stuff I do all the time. So chat, I say go for it.
You're very supportive.
Yeah. Chat's got our back, I think. Chat?
Oh, yeah.
Chat?
Cricket.
I just start to cry because there's a 5-second delay. Chat!
Why aren't they answering me?
We honestly, like, we really have a fantastic chat here, there, or just like the community. I've gotten very Pudata Podman comes in with this waggly eyebrow monkey. It's fantastic. So quiet. Love everyone just like crickets. You really are a fantastic community. So just kind of going through this real quick. what I just did was I grabbed my API endpoint for the horse tack store. Not very creative there. We don't need an access token. We could lock this down, Colby, so that like only only we could access the API, or like last week when James came on, we did some auth 0 and we gated some of the content. So we definitely wouldn't want anyone to be able to hit the API, because it's like, well, then there's the content, right?
But we want everybody to access the horse medicine. So
yeah, no, just horses,
No?
Colby.
oh,
Just
not even
I'm working
robots.
over here, and I see you like just take a pace too. Like, Colby, no. Have to talk you down. But that's what that is. And then for the most part, this other stuff is going to help us when we need to request certain pages worth of stuff. But right now, I'll leave that boilerplate. And let's see what else we might need. We're going to want to export the actual Prismic client. I wonder where we do that here. Utils, Prismic helpers.
Making sure to
here it
keep on
is.
getting my horse bucks. Do you know I have 4.1 thousand? I have over 4,000 horse bucks. I need to decide what to do with them.
I think at that point, I think at 4,000 you can hire a new host. I think you can become the host. I'm pretty sure I unlocked that just in the hopes that someone would take this from me. Just because I'm desperate to relinquish. Please, someone just come on and say words that make sense.
Wow.
22. I'm in.
You just need to ban all the words.
Do you see what Mike just did? Mike does that like every time.
What word?
Don't.
Tailwind? Oh, that.
I thought you were trying to get me. I thought you were trying to get me there.
I wasn't sure if the message after referred to the redeem.
That's so funny. Yeah, I thought you were trying to trick me. Real quick.
No.
What is this? Prismic configuration.
And here I thought I had a lot of points, but everybody's showing me up.
Oh wait, is it? Okay, Colby, can you help me figure this out?
Yeah, sure. I'll pay attention to what we're doing.
No, you're fine. So import these from Prismic configuration. Is that set up somewhere else as is that set up in our would that be in the Next config as an alias? Like, how are they importing that? Unless that's let
me look up the repo on my end.
Yeah. So does anyone understand what I'm doing? I only have 16K because I'm constantly banging the word. You are, Mike. You've definitely spent some of your things. Prismic config is in the root file. Prismic configuration is there. And then if I go into utils and then Prismic helpers.js, from Prismic configuration, can you just do that? If it's
we never installed that configuration file, right?
Right, like,
or is that aliased?
That's what I'm trying to figure
it doesn't
out.
Look like it's aliased.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing an alias for it, unless it pulls from, like, if it's somehow resolving from.
Does that just?
So there is a root file. I'm sorry. Did you see that root file? Yeah.
Yeah.
Catching up here.
Yeah. But
that's interesting.
That will pull from the root. I thought that would pull from. I don't know. I mean,
maybe that's what that
Webpack
line is doing. Maybe that's the in the Next.js config. Sorry if I'm repeating this, but in the Next.js config, there's the Webpack line. Maybe that's what that's doing, because it's resolving the modules at
resolve config. That might be it. Chat.
Yeah.
Let us know if you figured it out.
Typically, I see that in like a JS config.
Yeah. I'm just I don't know. All good. I'm just gonna go manually and go down and grab it. Cool. Prismic config. Got it. All right. Nice. So what this file is going to do is just set up our client, and then we'll be able to use that to query for things. So basically, we're passing we're creating the Prismic client, passing it our specific endpoint, and then if we need an access token or anything else, and it's just a lot of boilerplate that I'm never going to write by hand, and I'm always going to grab from somewhere. Yeah. We are kind of good to go now. So now, how do we want to grab this in our Next.js file, Colby?
So let's start off with the homepage, and we can write a new function at the bottom of the page, and we'll add our get static props where we can
Cool.
actually
Do I have
start
get
requesting that data.
static? Get static prop. Do I have? Nope, I don't have a thing.
Oh.
Is it export?
Yeah,
There
async
we go.
function. Yep. Is that
Okay,
Copilot helping us out?
That's Copilot.
Oh,
should,
yeah.
should I turn it off or? I'll keep it on for now. If it starts to get
Copilot's
annoying.
showing you up right now.
No. Copilot is how I code now. That's just that's why I paused, because I'm like, is that how do I? Yeah, because that's just how I do my thing. Cool. Props products. We can hold off on
And
that.
did you import the client at the top
Not yet.
for Prismic? Yeah.
Nope. Oh, and you're
So we'll
using
want to
React
get that.
icons.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love
So,
React icons.
it's such a great library.
Yeah.
Really handy. And it tree shakes out, so you can use like an icon from anywhere. It's fantastic.
So good.
Import. What are we calling that? Is it client? Is we just export?
Yeah, with a capital C.
Export client. Cool. Import client.
From Shopify.
That's
Add
the
Copilot.
It's a double-edged sword, my friend. Yeah, sometimes it's like, I am smarter than God, and other times it's like, I don't know where my shoes are. It just has no idea what it's doing. Copilot is fun in that way. So yeah, where we want to go down here. So we got client. Let's check the docs, because I don't know about anyone else, but I reference the docs a bunch. I work at Prismic, and I still come here to do lots of referencing. So here we go. It's query by type. And we have to import Prismic client. We have to do that. And we're also going to do document, and we're going to get a specific kind of document like product. Perfect. So I'm going to import Prismic up here. No, sorry. We don't need the client because we already have the client here. My fault.
Yeah.
And then, nope. Once again, I'm going to say, nope, we actually do, and I'll show you why. Because here we are using this bit here, this Prismic predicates. So we're still using that Prismic object itself.
Gotcha.
So if we do products, and then products, cool. So let's just log out what we're getting here, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite way.
Yeah.
Console log for the win.
Cool. So let's see that, and let's refresh that homepage and hope that it did not break. Chances are it did. It did.
Oh.
Products.map is not a function. Got it. Hold on. Let's comment this out. Products.map. Anything else that's referencing products? Styles.products. That's fine.
I don't think so.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because we just added that. So, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Because it was pulling in directly from the import before, so there shouldn't be anything else.
Cool. Yeah, so we've got our data. We got our two products, and there's our data on each of those products. Awesome. So we're gonna.
That's looking pretty tasty.
Looking nice. Wait, no, Colby, no.
No. Oh, my bad.
Not the horse pace. No, Colby. Cool. So, yeah, we got our food. Awesome. So now we can just go ahead and how do you want to like destructure this, or like what should we call it? Should we just or actually, you know what? Let's change this document, because I think document's more of a an accurate representation of what this is. Right.
Because it's getting the entire structure, right?
Yeah, or it's getting products. It's getting multiple. We'll keep document, and then we can nail down to products. So const products.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, we're not.
Was that results, or was it products? Oh, okay, I see what you're now.
I think that's it. So now let's log that, just in case, and see what we got. Nope.
Ooh, what was that?
That was not
handy, quick console log.
I'm glad you asked. So that is I hit Control Alt L.
Control Alt L.
Rocket log or something.
Oh, you know what? I've heard of that, and I never installed it.
It's really nice. You just have to highlight something and look at all, yeah, turbo console log, and look at all the
Turbo
context it gives
console.
you. So if you got like 100 of these throughout your thing, you don't get confused. Gives you
That's a
the
beautiful
exact
thing.
file, the line, home, and like home products, right? Like it tells you exactly what you're logging out. So
You
it's
would be
nice.
quite impressed with the art that I put around lines to differentiate them between each other. Like I'll make like big line breaks of different characters so that I can visually distinguish what the data is.
That's
But yeah, I like
fantastic.
the solution a little bit better.
I mean, either it's a coin toss. One is not better than the other. Cool. So we got our products, and that's just an array of these boys. Cool. And then
Yay.
we got data on that. So what we could do is we could shape this here, and I kind of like to do that typically. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
So we're getting a product that's going to have data on it. We don't need anything else on it, I don't think. Oh, we do want the ID.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the UID. That's what we want. The ID is like Prismic specific, and yes, that's going to be unique
Oh,
still, but that's
so
the
when we
URL
were
we
talking
want.
about that earlier, I didn't realize that that's what you were already doing. So my bad there.
Oh
So the
no,
UID is what I was referring to, since
yeah.
you do have the Prismic ID versus the actual manually set ID.
Oh, okay. Now I also understand what you were saying a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
better. I got it. I thought we were saying
yeah,
the same thing. We were saying different things, but now we're
yeah,
singing the same song. Very
yeah.
good. So yeah, so that's going to be like the slug in the URL. And yeah, also give slugs, link documents. We don't really have any. But yeah, so we're going to want data, and we're going to want UID. So,
Perfect.
and then we can return just an object with data and UID. That looks good, right?
It looks good to me.
Cool. And chat. One thing that I do want to say, this is a new VS Code theme that I just installed, actually from Colby's friends over at Freak. You know what, Colby? Is that for me or for you? I don't even know what to do anymore.
Both, right?
My guest is giving me tips. Hey, sit up straight.
I'm watching you.
This is a theme from Free Code Camp. I just saw that. So if it's not contrasty enough, chat, just let me know, and I can switch to my old one or a different one. It's one thing to read it myself, but it's another thing if the contrast is a little too minimal for your eyes. So just let me know. Let me know. Give me some feedback if you don't love it. All right, cool. So now with a little bit of
Look at
shape
that.
shifting, we've got a category, description, image, and we've got that's the prototype. Got our UID, our title, and our price.
A nice looking
Awesome.
prototype.
It's a nice prototype. We're gonna dig into that for the next half hour. All right, so cool. Yeah, looking good. And then we can start to just log those out when we map over. It's not gonna be a complete. Actually, we should be able to punch into a few of
Good.
these, right?
Yeah, it should just be able to tweak it a little bit.
So UID, UID. Product image is now image URL.
Wait, wasn't that just I think that was just styles, the one that you grabbed in there, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No.
No, you can
Oh,
go
that
back.
one. Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you for saving me
yeah.
from that. Product.image.url and then alt. I didn't add any. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do the. So images by default have an alt on them in Prismic, but I didn't fill them in because in our use case, it's the same as like the title. Like if we had
So I was gonna
multiple
ask
images,
that,
yeah.
So my understanding is like typically you just leave it blank if that's the case, right? Because I always wonder, I always feel weird leaving it blank, but I
We got
also
some.
understand that you shouldn't duplicate it, right?
Yeah, so we got some experts in the chat that'll definitely let us know what the case is. So I'll wait for them to chime in because I have a habit of going. My understanding is 6 + 6 is 30, and then they're like, oh gosh, now we have to
It
undo
isn't?
this. That's my understanding, and so I'll just hold off and see if anyone wants to chime in with better information than I might provide,
Yeah.
and if they don't, I'll say 6 plus 6 is 30, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
But
I
yeah,
think the difference would be though, like if you added a value inside of here, like you would actually describe the picture as opposed to the title, right?
right. I
Like
think this would be box of, right, like that.
of yummy paste.
Nope. This
No,
is
no, no.
gonna lose all my sponsors. This is now being flagged for disinformation. Uh,
That
yeah,
would be
so
hilarious.
that's my understanding is that like yeah, you would say this is a box of that. But once again, here I am chiming in saying 6 plus 6 is 30, and someone's gonna come in and say you're both wrong. Neither of you should be given microphones. Product title is good, and styles product title. So we're not touching the styles because that's coming from where? Are we using CSS modules?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So that particular file is in the styles directory. And then yeah, at the top there, the home.module.scss.
Awesome. So that's all in there. Nice.
Yep.
And then we're just pulling out specific things. Petition to change the horse into a frog and call the channel Trost Toads.
Wow.
I mean,
I like that.
If you get 2 signatures legally, I have to. So there's
or
no.
or
there's
are
no
your
way.
fans Trost Toads?
Yeah. Trost.
No.
Maybe I'm trying to think. I'm not
You
saying
know,
it
like
wasn't a good
Swifties?
joke. Oh shoot, Marlon, that's 2 now. All right, well we're changing it. I never thought you'd get to that benchmark, but there we go. Marlon, good to see you. And product price, we'll leave that as the just the cents for now, and we'll actually see. This should work. I think this should work. That red says yes. Invalid source prop.
Invalid source is
image.url. What was wrong with that? Image.url. .image.url. No.
Did you refresh the page because it might still be pulling from the previous state? Just simply do
call,
like in the browser.
Or I might not be handling a null thing like if products, right? Because before you didn't have to because you're pulling from static data, right?
Yeah.
Let's just do it at the top for now. Yeah. There we go. Nope. All right. Whoa, Chris Ellis, thank you for following. Good to see you, Chris. Oh, it's next image that might be causing the problem. Interesting. Good point. We do need to handle that. So our next config. Yes.
Good call.
Great call, Pudata. Thank you so much. Yeah. So should we switch over to a regular image, or do you want to add the? Is that what
It doesn't really matter. I think all you have to do though is define that image's property.
There it
which is pretty simple. We could try it out first.
Yeah, I should have read a little bit more. But good eye, Pudata. Thank you so much for
good call.
Chiming in. See, like I'm saying that what just happened? That was weird.
Great chat you got here.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So helpful. So
you would just need that domain
I
that
just
you
need
resolved
to not use
from.
example.com. Yeah, I was coming back here to see what the actual image is coming in as, and I don't. Is it there? Images.prismic.io. Cool. So,
fingers crossed.
I might have to restart the dev server.
Oh, right.
That's exactly what it's saying there. Cool. All right. So, do you know why that happens?
Do I know why? What?
Sorry.
Happens?
Do you know why?
Things happen. The world. Saying, it needs to be in an images property inside that. So the top level property is images, and then domains are inside of images.
But like
in the Next.js config.
Oh. Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm still screwing up. Got it. So
Almost there.
My question, besides why does that happen, is why do they need this complication? Like clearly they're doing this for a good reason. Do you know what it is?
I don't know their exact reason. The only thing off the top of my mind is like if there's some kind of security thing. Though I don't know what the security issue would be. Maybe it's because I think it ultimately runs on serverless functions. So maybe there's some kind of vulnerability there. But again,
Uh,
I'm just speculating.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
really don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like I have to imagine
VJ.
there's something, right?
Yeah. VJ with the puns. Love it. And
Success.
Pudana, once again, thank you so much. So the only thing is we're going to have to figure out the width and
Do
height aspect. That's always been a bit of a pain in the butt for me.
you get it from
Um,
Prismic?
we
I
do.
thought I saw dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
So you should be
So
able to plug that
just
in, right?
pass that
I
in
mean,
and
it's
that.
the grid would be a little off still, but I'm curious to see what it actually looks like. There we go.
Cool. And then. Yeah, and you're right. The grid is going to be a little bit weird, but it looks perfect. That's exactly how I expect my stores to look. But
Yes.
then
Yes.
we can style around it. Product image, we can give like a max width and a max height, right? It's all the stuff I
Yeah.
went through because I recently started with Next.js. Awesome. Well, you're doing great already. You're already helping us out.
Nice.
And Matt, good to see you. Some lead hacks are probably put an alert in a JPEG once, and now we got to tell every domain we trust. It's a really good point. Cores, Chris, you might be onto something there.
Maybe. Yeah.
Might be onto something. Awesome. So we are getting somewhere, chat. And we've got our calm and easy food. We've got selling for quite a high number. In here, do we want to do in here by I mean our map? Do we want to change the price in here to cents, or do we want to do it somewhere else? What do you think?
In our particular use case, it probably doesn't matter, but it would matter depending on where you're doing that currency logic. So, like if you're doing it server side on the request, like you'd want that more closer to the data, I would imagine, as opposed to client side.
Right.
But if you're loading that currency conversions client side, then that's probably where you would want that.
Right. So what's the call? What do you think we should do?
I would just do it in the original shape since you already have logic there. Because in this instance, it's not really going to matter for us because we're not doing different currencies, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So I do what is it? Price is data.
And the nice thing, I
Yeah.
might like I'm pretty sure, like, don't quote me on this, but I think that SnipCart also handles that gracefully. Like if you build your shop in US, I think it'll convert the currency through that. So it might not matter for the rest of it. It's just how it would actually be visible on the product page, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
I think.
Cool. Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna put it to the test. But okay, so we've got our calm and easy food, and we've got Dervit, Priental, Paste, Apple Flavor, Worm, Horse Dewormer. That just sells itself.
It really does.
I'm surprised that wasn't popular years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got two products. Before we add more and make them like super cool and do the styling and stuff, do we want to work on this part where we click in and whoops, this product doesn't exist? Can do that.
We might as
bit?
well get that working first.
Awesome.
That was like funny timing with that GIF because when the image when it didn't show up, it was a 4:4 and they looked at each other. It was kind of funny.
Nice.
Anyways,
follow.
so yeah. So if we want to go to /products/product ID.
Cool. And then here,
we're probably going to want to grab the same snippet from the homepage to put inside get static paths because we'll ultimately want to grab all the product data to be able to create our paths.
for this.
Yeah, so I would just grab like the request part of it, like the document. And then inside of get static paths at the top, we're going to want to create that array of paths based off of that product data. So if you paste it in there, then we'll take that document and transform it to that list of paths, which will include that product ID, or in this case, it'll be the UID from each of the individual products.
Got it. Okay, so
we're basically telling Next.js, here's a list of pages that we want to build. And each of those pages are going to have one dynamic parameter as part of it. And that dynamic parameter is going to be that product ID that we're passing in to that array.
okay, cool. So should I go const paths?
Yeah.
Document dot.
And is that even successfully doing that already? Go Copilot.
Right? Like honestly, I'm a believer. It's a little, but it's gonna start guessing stuff that's just not right? Like params isn't a thing. Like we can just keep going. I don't. That's not what that's called. It's guessing that off
No,
of
I think this is doing good, isn't it?
product ID is not what I called mine. Like
Oh, oh,
it
oh.
doesn't know what we're returning from here, right? Like
So to clarify those, because you would want to name that parameter product ID if we leave
right. I
the
was
file
thinking
name
we
as
should
product
probably
ID. Yeah.
change this to UID,
Oh,
just for the
fair
sake
enough. Yeah.
of right,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
to keep it consistent because jumping between the two is a little bit funky on the brain.
Yeah.
So actually, let me do that in the sense of if there's a product ID anywhere. Oh, actually, it should only exist here, right?
Came for Next.js, stayed for horse deworming.
VJ, VJ cracks me up. And Chris, that's an awesome idea. How about an extension that does that every time you have a 404 on stream? Just that horse high five. Just they look at each
And
other.
then a tally of how many times it does it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we've got document.results.map. I think that's right. Let me just check over here real quick. Document. Yep. And then document.results.map. Yep. Okay. So what do we want to return here?
So yeah, we want an object with params in there, just like you have there. And then inside of the params objects, we're going to then return that UID property, where that UID property will be that product UID. And is it at the top level like that, product UID, or is it the product data.UID? The UID is at the top, I think, right? So I think that's right.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. It's not on the data, correct? So it should be there. So all right, and then that's going to pull that off. All right.
Did you ever import Did you ever import Prismic at the top?
Did not. Good call.
I just saw the red line and there was one.
You're so smart. And we also need the client. I didn't import the client either. I don't think I did, at least. Getting messy with these imports.
And I think you're going to need to go one level up with the lib folder.
You are also correct. Nice. I like pair programming with you, Colby. You're pretty great.
Oh, shucks.
Okay. We're getting somewhere. Let's see if make sure that this isn't what's breaking it. So let's go, product. Get static paths, get static props.
So it's
probably breaking.
Yeah, so
here,
it's not
right?
going to be expecting the right product ID. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let me
now
just return null here, just in case we do get here. Actually, let's do our trick. Now that we showed it off, ta-da!
Aha.
So fun. All right, cool. So we want.
So now we're going to need to do yet another request.
Right.
So now we're going to need to create a Prismic request where we use that parameter, query that specific document product inside that, whatever the terminology is
query
for how
by,
that
query by UID,
is. Yeah, there we go.
So so for chat, I just went over, grabbed this because we're querying by the UID, and instead of hello world, we want our param.uid, right?
Yeah, perfect. Params.uid. Yep.
Nice.
So that's going to grab that document, and then will that structure be the shape? Will that be similar to the other document?
Should be. Yeah. It should be identical. So
at this point, it's just looking through that document and assigning. If you want to keep the same product constant, it's just assigning that product constant to the location of that data.
I don't follow. Sorry.
So we want, if we're going to be passing in the prop from get static props into the component, right? We want product to ultimately have that data, right? So we want to assign constant product to wherever that product data is inside of that document constant.
Okay.
So like constant product equals document dot product, or wherever it is inside of there. Is it results?
Should be. But isn't this
so then you can probably get rid of the
document?
Find.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get rid of the find at this point. It's really just going to be pointing to,
Cool. And then Actually, it shouldn't even be an array, I don't think, because we're getting it by UID. So let me just log here. Let's just log and see if we're getting anything. That should log, right? Before it throws the error. No? Is that not going to log?
Is there a syntax error in there?
Unexpected
There might be
token,
a
expected return paths, fallback false.
there must be
We're getting a syntax error down here.
Oh, should that be an object? Oh wait, that is an object. Just wasn't able to see.
I might not have closed this off entirely. There we go. It's looking for that parenthesis. That's it.
Mm.
All right, let's try this again. Unexpected status code. Okay, so we try to search by the param and we got a 400. So that's probably pointing towards the fact that we don't have any, like, we're not getting the right stuff back.
I wonder if we need to restart the server since you changed the file name. Maybe. Just
it seems to be. Let's see. UI params UID calm and easy. Okay, so that's coming in right. I mean, yeah, no, I don't think so, because we wouldn't get this. We wouldn't get this. But we're getting a 400 when we request. Wait, client get by UID. Here it is. Here. So when you copy things from documents, you need to change things about them. All right. So I copied that. It was a blog post. I was looking in the types blog post, and guess what? We don't have a blog post type. We have product. So that should now get us a product. So cool. So at least we got past that error. On to the next error. But that's progress, my friends. So
I'm guessing
this is get static props. We're moving forward. So now that's in the document. Okay, so we're getting a document back. And what is wrong with it? So document.results doesn't have anything on it, is I think what it is. Document dot. So we're gonna send back the document and then pull the data off it. So I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. And then here we go. Here's what we're getting
Perfect.
in our component. Whew. Sorry about the time there. Took a little bit.
This is good debugging.
Yeah, but we're good. We made it to the end. All right, so get rid of some of these console logs, even though we love them. We love to see it. Should we just shortcut this and...
Yeah.
Cool, looking good. All right, nice. And now, should we pipe this stuff in, or what?
We absolutely should.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can get rid of that null check, and we could just start updating the page, kind of like we did on the homepage, to reference the right properties. Yeah.
Awesome. So we can actually, should we change the product in the same kind of way that we did maybe in here? Does that make sense? So like how I pull data out of it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Actually, you know what? So it's funny, I just undid it, but let's go const product. Or rather...
Yeah. So the only thing you need to do is then...
And then... How would you go about this? Curious how you would solve this problem, or where you would.
So, I mean, just for the sake of doing this, like you could just put it as the value of the return statement, and then it would be, so like the data would be product, right? So you'd swap in that, would it be product.data? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So product.data, and then you would need to, So that should work.
Hold on one sec.
As long as that data is the right place, yeah.
UID, we can't use the implicit thing. Prices, product.data. And then that should be good. Cool, good call. I think that's a better way to do it. And so now we're still logging product here. Let's see how that looks. And it just doesn't like that we got rid of the return null.
Oh, okay.
Cool. There we go. And that's looking much more like the product that we were talking about. Nice. All right. Now we can start to pipe that.
So now let's just connect the dots. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah,
so I think the biggest differences were the product ID and the image, right?
Yeah, I think. So the image, yeah, here it is. So image.url. And product.title. Yeah, that's the same. And then
And the dimensions.
yeah.
Lovely.
Awesome. I'm sorry?
I'm just saying lovely. And
Nice.
I don't know if I'm actually using the ID anywhere.
It doesn't look like it. I don't think we need it once we're in
Okay.
the product. So we've got it. We've got our
Yay!
little horse food. So now we can come back, click on some horse paste, and we get our horse
Look at
dewormer. Look at
that.
it's gorgeous. It is
When are you coming out with a new
gorgeous.
flavor?
Never, because people ruin
Oh,
things. This is why we can't have good things. Horses can't have delicious apple paste for that.
I was looking
Prince,
forward to creamsicle.
Prince comes in and bans the word that's hard for me to not say.
Oh.
It's so fun. People come in and just ban the words that I've like said like 300 times already, and it's like, all right, I'll try. Prince, it's good to see you. You're streaming
I'm gonna have
tonight,
a hard
right?
time doing that.
You are streaming tonight. Maxcellw. Nice.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna start dropping in your stream and banning random names
No, I appreciate
or
that.
random words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's all out
fail
of
a
love.
good half the time because chat is brutal. Chat will ban the thing that they know I can't not say in 5 hours. Awesome. So definitely follow Prince. He's a delightful stream. It's just one of my favorite ways to spend an evening hanging out with Prince and seeing what he is learning. Love watching your stream, Prince. Cool. So, and also Colby, make sure before we go, we chat about all the stuff that you got going on, because we jumped into our like friendship, but we never like plugged where you work, all the stuff you're working on, the workshop, your YouTube channel,
I appreciate that.
your
Yeah.
books, your movies, your DVDs. You've got the whole the 12 cassette tape how to be a better man series that you recorded in 1998. That's still selling like hotcakes. So yeah, we should.
I'm coming out with a vinyl podcast later in the year.
You just do so much. So yeah,
Maybe 8-track in the next year.
it's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a renaissance man. All right, I'm deleting the products, Jason. And how do we get to SnipCart stuff? So to kind of sum up what we've done so far, chat. Actually, I'm gonna check off stuff. We've outlined the project. So I want to sell horse crap on the internet. It's basically all I'm here for. I want to do it, and I don't want to pay Shopify a dime. I want to do it on Next.js. I want to do it with Prismic. I want to be able to edit my products right here in Prismic, or right here maybe, and not have to use like a Shopify kind of thing. But I want to use the CMS of my choice and just create a product this way. And so that's what I want. And it turns out I can actually get what I want for once. And so now we're going to bring in SnipCart.
Yes, we are.
How does this work, or how am I going to go about that? Actually, you know what? Let's add one more product so we can just populate it. What images do I have in here? Oh, this is one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see it.
Your stash of horse images.
It is yeah. It is a gel cover for your saddle, because I mean,
you gotta sit comfortably.
It's not something I've ever needed, but I'm sure if I sit in a saddle all day, heck yeah, I'm getting the Dr. Scholl's saddle cover for sure. So yeah,
does it come in the spurs too?
It really should for the horse, so that when I kick them, it's like a gel, so that they're gelling when I kick them with the spur. Exactly.
It's your horse gelling?
Saddle gelling cover. Gel saddle. How much do you think this is? $25, $30, $30.99.
I'd say that's a pretty great value for a horse saddle gel.
Really, really good value. Lorem ipsum. Cool. And yeah, category. It's just tack, because you know why? Because everything's tack when I don't know if it's horse or food, or if it's medicine or food, not horse or food. All right, cool. Publishing that, and we should, upon refresh. Nice.
Yay!
We got it. So
Success.
we're able to update our content just like that. And now I want our chat to be able to buy this and be disappointed when I send them a JPEG. So how do we go about that?
Sure. So, all right, we have the way that we're going to actually install SnipCart is we're going to drop in a few external scripts and style sheets so that they can actually maintain the cart. But ultimately, we're going to need an account where we can get an API key, unless you want me to just send it over mine or something. So,
no,
if you want to head over to snipcart.com.
Yeah, I'm a loyal member.
You're a member?
Yeah.
There we go. Cool.
Yeah, got my Costco club card and all. Yeah, it's
love it. So we're gonna stick on the testing tab because then we're going to actually be able to like go through a checkout process and not have to worry about actually, doing a payment and creating an all that stuff. But what we want to do is we want to configure our domains while we're in here. So there should be a link right on the front there if you want, or on the top right, the little person icon. Yeah. And you'll eventually have got to where you see now in the domains. And we want to add our local host here to make sure that we're going to be able to, I think you're going to want to change the protocol to HTTP.
Yeah, I think so too. Mistaken. Is this,
it should be 3000, right?
3000. And then, because local host is always going to be HTTP. And V prevails. I was going to do that. And I forgot. I just didn't get to it. Yeah, I forgot about it. We have to do that before the end of the stream. We can definitely do it. Yeah, we're gonna add some mane and tail shampoo. Awesome idea. Awesome idea. Thank you for that. I forgive it. I appreciate it. I live another day. Cool. So other domains and subdomains. Do we need anything else?
So like once you ultimately deploy it, like that's where you would be able to add another domain or something.
And I would change.
But since we're just doing this locally right now, and then like you can, because of course you wouldn't want localhost 3000 all the time. Otherwise, anybody can use that API key. But we're still on test mode, so it doesn't really matter anyways.
It's awesome.
But now we should be able to actually start implementing SnipCart. So honestly, I love to just look at the docs because I love to just look at the docs because they're great, and like the snippets, of course, I don't have them memorized. So if we go back to the homepage, I believe there should be a link right. I'm sorry, I meant the dashboard homepage. However, if you go to resources there,
all right, I'm here on this homepage.
Yeah. Okay. So then you can go to read doc for install SnipCart.
that like we'll half second delay. I'm like, if you go there,
right.
But don't worry about it. You don't have to go there. Cool.
Okay, I think we're on the same page now, literally. So we want to just kind of go through these steps, and within our Next.js page, we can start off by doing it on a single page. So we can start off with the home page, and then we can see how that works, and then branch off to like a more globally available install. Cool. Yeah. So the way that it's going to work is like we can take right advantage of the head component to add all the stuff that we would typically add to our head. So that includes the pre-connect snippets that they had very first there, which is more just like a performance thing to help the browser start to make those network connections.
Cool.
To understand where to go. And you might need to close the links for everything that we paste in because everything's HTML in there, and might not be readily JSX. And then make sure okay. So then we have the pre-connect, and we also need our styles, which is going to be able to style the actual SnipCart cart.
Okay.
And then after that, we have our the actual meat of it, which is the script that's going to load it. And then we also add a SnipCart container, which is what they use to actually inject the cart into the UI. So to do this, when we're on our page, we can just really put it as far bottom on the single page that we want. Traditionally, like the best practice is to put it as low on the page, but there's not like a footer component, kind of like there is a head component. So for now, we can just put it as far down on the bottom of the page as we want, and it should work just fine.
Okay. Right there.
Yep. And then the only other thing is swapping out your API key. Now, the API key is a public key. So like when you load the browser up, it will be available for people to see, which is totally okay because that's just how it works. However, I still like to do things like environment variables, which we don't need to do here. But
Okay.
that way, like if you're working locally versus production, you have the ability to easily swap out those keys.
That makes
And
sense.
generally, you don't like it's not as best practice to commit API keys into a file when you're sending it to Git. But for our purposes, it probably doesn't matter too much.
Cool. Where do I get that key from?
Oh, sure. So yeah, go to the user thing, and then there should be, if you scroll down a little bit, there should be an API keys
Nice.
section. Yep, there we go. And
All
we can
right.
see that beautiful test public API key. And again,
So
like it's a public key, so somebody trying to copy that off the screen, like it doesn't really matter too much. And plus, it's the test ID.
so one thing I would love for you to touch on, how
Sure.
the heck does this work? So my big understanding of e-commerce, and this might be true for the chat as well, is that hey, you shouldn't send confidential stuff over the client. What's stopping me, some real naughty guy, from going in and saying that's not $14, that's $1, and I'm gonna buy 1,000 of them for 10 cents? How in the
Sure.
world am I able to do sales with a static page where it's not like hitting my secure server and all that stuff? Because my like, I just want to say this again. All of my pricing data and stuff is in Prismic, and I'm not connecting SnipCart to Prismic directly. I'm connecting SnipCart to Next, and then Next to Prismic. Like, how are they able to check against each other? Hey, welcome, Yish. Thank you for coming through. What is stopping everyone from ripping me off and taking all my gel saddle pads for 10 cents? I'm terrified of it, Colby. Set me at ease.
Sure. So while this isn't going to work locally because the local host isn't publicly accessible, when you actually deploy, what's going to happen with the production checkout process is when it actually tries to create that purchase, it'll check that domain where you're going to have like an identifier as where that product data is associated with. So let me try to break that down a little bit easier. So when you actually publish the page, we're going to have our products and the product data associated with it actually tagged up on the page. And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but we'll have all the metadata associated with each page. And we'll also have a designation on that, which is going to be like the product link. So if you're on a single page, that'll just be the homepage. But that's giving the identifier to SnipCart to say, hey, all my products are listed on this page at this price. So you can check that independently on your own server to validate that that's the right price before actually confirming the purchase. That way, because somebody can't actually manipulate that unless they compromise your entire system, right? It's not just like simply making that change on the client side. So while somebody can get through maybe most of it by doing that, it's not going to actually work in practice.
So no matter what I do to the DOM here with my super hacking elite skills of, inspecting and changing the price here to like $4, if I hit add to cart and try to check out with my edited price, SnipCart is going to send a little robot over and check, is that actually $4.99? Nope, this doesn't match. Error. Yep. No, right? Like they do that manual check on my live site. That's a really clever way around that big issue of I need a secure server. I need my own database. So I really can use any headless CMS, or like you had a freaking JSON file that's just there. There's no database that I need to worry about on my end. That's really
that's
cool.
one of the things that I like about SnipCart is like it's like you can drop it into literally any site as long as you have the ability to like tag up that HTML with the metadata. Like I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally agree. Huge. So I sent that confetti up because Yish, congrats! I got my first full stack dev job. Thanks to the community for constant support.
Congratulations!
I'm thrilled. That's fantastic, Yish. Just a quick aside. Congratulations. That's I mean, I've already said it's fantastic, but yeah, awesome stuff. Really happy for you. Yeah, that's got to feel so good. Just getting that first one is like getting your foot in the door, and that's the toughest one every time. Deal. So congrats. I like that. I hope the chat agrees in that. I feel like it gets easier from there. Like getting that first one is the toughest thing, and then you don't feel like you have to convince everybody that you are this, because you are now a developer. You are officially a developer. I mean, you've been, but it's just going to be easy from here. Congrats. Yeah, once the foot's in, it's good.
Big
Awesome.
relief.
And real quick, Thomas just said, I want everyone to remember that someone not only placed these products to photograph them, but someone also designed this thing. I don't know if he's talking about, I think he's talking about that other horse. Just that.
Brought to you by Dervet.
And they played with the purples and like, yeah, someone designed this whole thing. It's just so funny. Thank you for that follow, Ben. Love it. So good. So good. Yeah. That's someone's job. That's what they did. Cool. So I feel a little bit better about people not ripping me off for my gel saddles. So thank you for setting my mind at ease there.
Got to keep your saddles secure.
Yeah, because without that secure database, I worry about it.
But also, if your saddle's not secure, you might fall off.
That's true, and I don't want to lose the farm over this. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Cool. So we added our public API key, because that's the other thing is like just a public API key. Like people would be able to inspect the DOM, see my API key, and what's stopping them from going and doing purchases on their end? It's that we're telling them in our settings, this is my trusted domain, only trust this domain and check against this domain. Got it.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else that we need to do here?
So at this point, we should just need to connect our products, and
awesome.
We can head over to the next page for the products page, where like there are some other options in there, but the important thing is connecting the products next. So if you scroll down to either the bottom, so if we either scroll down to the bottom of that installation page or in the sidebar.
What? Where am I going?
Back in the documentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cool.
No.
Bottom of the installation page.
So adding your products.
Cool.
Yep. Which is the same as that products link in the sidebar. But at this point, like as we can see there in the button, so there's two critical points to this. The first one is the class name. The way that the class name works is SnipCart's going to see that class, where it's then going to listen to events on that button, such as like on click, right? Which is that's how it's going to actually trigger independently of whatever's happening inside of your own UI. The second important thing is all those data attributes, because as I was kind of talking about the security aspect, this is basically where we tell SnipCart everything about our products. And they'll then use that for the checkout experience.
So really, my static HTML is my secure database, essentially.
Essentially,
yeah. Right? Like instead of having that secure DB that we check prices against and no one else can access it, it's just the fact that only I can ship this HTML to the front end, and because SnipCart's checking it on their own, then it's secure. I'll stop talking about the security
on a
aspect.
Verifiable domain.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I just want the chat to understand, like, this is a secure way of handling e-commerce, because it sounds at first glance impossible, right? It sounds like, oh, well, it's all on the client side. You can't do stuff like that on the client. Everyone knows that. Yeah. But this is a clever way around it. So very cool.
It is. Yep. Awesome. So usually what I do is I literally just copy that entire snippet and plug in my own data, because
makes sense.
I usually just copy whatever you want to do, but I have that button component in there. So if you wanted to still use that,
cool.
It's really just transferring it over to the button.
So we have this button. Oh, is that just a regular? That button's going to need some stuff, right? So we just want this. We want this. Yeah.
Stuff? So you just want to copy from the class and all the attributes. Yep. And then the only thing that you'll want to do. Well, I'm sorry. You're on the view cart button right now. You want to go back to the add to cart button.
Good catch.
And then the only thing we want to do there before we update the product data itself is update class to class name.
Good catch.
And then the rest of it will just be...
I usually wait a few minutes before I change that out.
Sorry if I'm over hovering here.
No, dude, this is your stream. No. I'm just, yeah.
But then, essentially, we'll just make all the rest of that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And as you can see there, even in their example, they use the sense value, right? Because they'll ultimately take that and do their own logic as to how that works with the conversion process. And
Awesome.
you know, from a perspective of somebody building their own site, like not having to think about that currency part is pretty compelling. Now, I know currency is very important because, like, especially if you want to see what it is in your currency before you buy something. But if you don't have the resources to do that, you could still take payments from another country while still showing the original value, right? So
Right.
there's still something handy about that.
That's fantastic. And thank you for that follow. Got a couple of follows just recently. Welcome. You are both
Nice.
honorary horses.
You're
Pleasure to
welcome,
have you.
Alex. No, just
Cool. We got a little description, and we've got a description that I copied and
And
pasted
not
from
all of
Prismic.
these fields are required. So description,
Okay,
for
good to
instance,
know.
an image, like we don't need to add that, but it helps to build the experience, right?
Is it gonna
Because then
show?
SnipCart will use it.
Okay, cool. I was about to say, is SnipCart gonna
Yeah,
show it on the
yeah, yeah.
checkout? Because that's great. If it goes from showing an image to like checking out, here's your product title, and that's all. I'm like, is this the right one? Right? Like
Right,
I
right.
I, I want to be sure.
Yeah.
Are
The
these
only the
things?
only caveat
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, no, no.
The only thing I was gonna say, the only caveat is like for the description, like I don't know how many characters it supports. Of course, you wouldn't want to put like a wall of text in there. Like it'd probably be better to add like a short description for this particular description.
Got it. And Yish just asked, that's just only for us only, right? So editing
US
this
maybe?
part, I'm sorry.
For us, is that supposed to be US, like United States?
Good question. I'll wait for Yish to respond. Is us?
Mm.
I took it as editing this part is just for us, but he
Oh,
they might mean the United States. You are
that's
potentially
developers.
right.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
Um, so you're right. So yeah, like we would want to make sure that all these data attributes are custom tailored to our particular products that we're using on
Got
our
it.
store, because ultimately SnipCart will use this, like we were saying, as its quote secure database in order to see what products are available.
That's really cool. And so to answer Yish, basically, I'm the only one that has access to this Prismic repository, so I can go in and change the price here. No one else can.
Hmm.
And so, because I'm calling for data from Prismic, and that's what's getting piped into here, and then I'm the only one that can touch this code, at least right now, right? Like that's totally up to me. I can invite Colby to work on it or whatever, but it's not open to the public. Um, that's going to get pushed up to Vercel or Netlify, wherever I'm hosting it, and then that will be built. So yeah, so like basically, I'm the only one that can touch this every step of the way as it gets created. So no one else should be able to go in and change the price to 10 cents or anything else.
And again, that's a bigger problem, right? That's bigger.
Yeah, right.
That's
Like
like
that's not
you're
SnipCart's
compromised.
fault. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like
And just to on top of that, like we were talking about before, where somebody could go in and change those values client side. However, because SnipCart does its independent checks before that order is actually placed, it's not going to use those altered values. It's going to use the original values of the cost. So you can't really play it.
cool. And so just by using
Yeah.
data attributes, we've got all this data locked in
Oh,
there.
looks like the
If
description is the only thing that's not properly
object to
showing.
object, yeah, let me go. Is it this because it's rich text? It's just going to be like text. I forget what the shape of that is.
Do you need to wrap it in a function or something with the Prismic client?
It does exist in there. Let me see what happened to it. Did it just disappear? It might have just disappeared.
And
Let
again,
me.
like that's not important if we want to
No,
roll through without it,
I
but
agree. I'm just a little curious. Let's see if we can log it real
yeah.
quick. Uh, wow, look at it saving my terrible typing. What just happened? Oh,
What'd you do?
products. Uh, I broke it,
Mm.
Colby. uh, yeah, it should be. Oh, right, because it's basically sending you an array. So it's going to take the first one and then do text. So product description, first one, and then, or rather, I should say index 0 rather than first one. Yep, there we go. So
Yep.
it's got all that in there. We'll see if SnipCart takes it.
So this is where
Cool.
the magic happens now. I would refresh the page just to make sure that the state is
Cool.
But yeah,
Yeah,
try
I just
clicking add
did.
to cart.
Whoa.
Yay! You just
Okay.
added an item to your cart.
And check it out. That's my description. Just trust me on that because I know it's just lorem ipsum, but that's what I put in there. Uh, and I actually, yeah, we did that on stream. Gel saddle comfort cover. There's the image. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just lays this out all for me. I can change the quantity in here, and the price updates for me. It's handling the price just right.
And you can even check out as is if you wanted to. Like you can even try that out quick.
That's
I
wild.
think the only thing, so for the billing info, like you can use just like fake whatever, and then like there's a fake credit card number.
Okay, I can do that off screen maybe.
We can do that later. Yeah.
Just because I don't want autocomplete to pop up and be like, "Here's your
enough,
your credit card,
fair
sir,"
enough.
and I'm like, "Please stop, don't,
Yep.
not right now." Usually, I
Fair
appreciate
enough.
this, not right now. Ben, thank you for the raid. Wow, thank you so much. Welcome everyone.
Oh hey.
Yeah, first off, Ben, you're coming on the show to show us Nuxt in a few weeks. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, thank you so much. Were you working on Obsidian stuff? Ben is absolutely the person I credit with getting me hooked on Obsidian. And Colby and I, honestly, Colby, a good amount of our friendship has been talking about how great Bear was as a note-taking app,
Yeah.
and then finding different apps to take the place of Bear. Ben, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bear. It's a Mac OS app, and it's lovely. Honestly, it's still like my favorite, but it is limited in a few ways. One of them is I'm on Windows now, baby, and Bear is still on the Mac OS. So you also used it, yeah.
Well, I
it's
use
great.
Craft now.
Yeah, you've gotten really into Craft, and Craft is very
Yeah.
much like Bear in a lot of ways, but has some Notion features.
Yeah.
But yeah, my house for Bear, I don't know, something. I would still love to use Bear. I use Obsidian like Bear, honestly, Ben. I haven't gotten deep into the graph stuff, but anyway, Ben, thank you for the raid. We're working on some really cool stuff. Colby is here, and Colby is showing us how to do e-commerce on the Jamstack. And actually, this is similar to a workshop that Colby's going to be doing at Jamstack Conf in just is this tomorrow?
The workshop is Thursday, but Jamstack Conf is tomorrow, where I will also be giving a talk. You can completely register for free for the event. The workshop, there's still spots, so definitely head over to Jamstack Conf if you want to check that out.
Drop the link earlier, but I'll do it again. I'm not afraid.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And yeah, so we're using SnipCart and Prismic and Next.js. We've wired up our ridiculous horse themed store, and it's wonderful, and it works
with some tasty treats.
No, Colby, the paste is not food, not for you. Every time.
Shame.
Yes, yeah, we should absolutely, Marlon. That's a great idea. We should absolutely have a little like a watch party. I love that idea. And so yeah, we're able to put in products, use CMS as our essentially like our Shopify kind of thing. And because SnipCart can just pull that data from Next.js, from our data attributes here, we have a working shopping cart on the Jamstack. It's just wild.
Yep, I love how like simple it is to get up and running on the
Seriously.
And how like independent it is of any of your implementation. So whether it is a Jamstack site,
Gatsby,
like
or Eleventy, right? Like there's nothing.
A serverful site, WordPress, like whatever your site is, if it ultimately produces HTML, that's what the web is, right? Like you can add SnipCart to whatever that is. It's really cool. I think it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, we've got add to cart. Cool. I don't want to check out though. Continue shopping. So I'm noticing that this isn't updating. Do we need to wire that up?
Yes, we need to wire that up. So if we want to head back over to the docs first of all, we can see that it's going to be a very similar thing to how we just set that up. And if we actually look in the left-hand nav bar, we see the cart summary, and we can just grab that because that's where our snippet's going to be. So we can see there's two aspects of the cart button that we're going to actually want to wire up here. We have, first of all, is a button where you can open up the cart, which is what that first snippet is. But then you have that second snippet where it's going to actually give you the ability to dynamically update that value to whether you want to show the items, the price, or both. I think in my example, I just have a spot for the price, but we can add the number of items as well. But ultimately, what SnipCart will do is it'll see that class name and it'll update that value dynamically as you're interacting with it. So
Awesome.
The first thing I typically do is I'll wrap the entire thing with that class name for the checkout button to turn it into a button, because like it doesn't need to physically be a button, right?
That's nice.
It just needs to be something clickable. And I like doing that just because like if you click the price, then it's still going to pop up for somebody.
Where do you want to do that? Outside the P?
So you can do it right on it. Like if you want to turn that styles.cart into like a template literal tag, and then turn the styles.cart into like a variable that you're passing into it, and then you can pass in that additional class as a string right after it.
So will we want to make this into a button then?
So that's what I was saying. Like we could just add it inside the button if we wanted to, but I like the idea of being able to also click the. Well, we have that button in there already for the view cart.
Got
so you
it.
probably
Yeah, I'm just thinking about making
a
paragraph a clickable thing. Might be a little funky.
Yeah, fair enough.
I guess as long as the button takes the click, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, you can add it to that button if you prefer.
No, it's cool either way.
That's easy.
All right. So then the count.
But then
price.
And we'll also want to remember for those to update the class to class name.
Good call.
So then right on that span.
Oh, I took the whole thing.
So wrong one. Yeah. So you want to put it on the span, the line above it.
Got it. Okay, my fault. My fault. Let me do that. Cool.
Yeah. Class name. And
Okay.
then if we go back to the browser and refresh the page.
Nice. There's my two.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the click made it happen.
And the reason that we had to refresh the page is because when SnipCart loads, like the script in, like it has to initialize, right?
It looks
and
for
like that DOM element wasn't in there when the script actually first loaded because of the fast refresh hot module, whatever it is that's updating the page.
Sure. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. Words. Yeah. But yeah, now we have an ability to open up that cart and actually see the value of that cart. And these are like the two biggest components of building like an online store, right? Adding products and checking out with the products.
Right.
But now we can actually start looking into how we make this global, since we do have those product pages and we want people to be able to visit those pages and add the products there, right? So we kind of have two parts to this. The first part's easy, where we're going to basically copy those same data attributes over to the add to cart button. Actually, three components, and that was the first one still, because we want to make that button a clickable button for that product data, just like we did on the homepage, right? Okay. So we'll first copy that class name and data attributes to that cart page. The next thing will be, and I'll just talk through the steps quick. The second thing that we'll do is we'll move that cart to the header, which I already have like a little snippet commented out that we can use. Nice. It's just migrating those class names and over so that we can use it in a global way, right? And then the third one will be we need to move the SnipCart installation to somewhere global in the Next.js application, so that the script can be available everywhere.
Right, because right now it's only here in kind of an awkward spot that isn't clickable. Cool. So I don't see the commented out bit here. Is that what you were saying?
Sure. So it's going to be the commented out bit is going to be inside of the header component, and that's going to be like where the shopping cart UI part is, just so that it's available in the navigation throughout the entire site.
Should I import that, or should I use the header component?
It should already be in there. Like if you open up the header file. Sorry, I'm not being clear about this.
Oh, it's fine.
Like you can get rid of that tag if you just open up the header file.
I'm saying it's not being used here.
Yeah, I don't know why it's there then. But if you, because it's being added through the layout file. Maybe I just accidentally included it there.
No worries.
But yeah, and then we can just transfer those the class name over to that, which I think it's about the same snippet.
Oh, like it already exists over here.
Yeah, I think I used more or less the same. It's going to be that paragraph with the button. It looks like I did it slightly different there. My bad. Maybe it was just because I was trying
That's
to do a
fine.
simpler example on the first one.
Right.
But this is
I'll
probably more
just leave it.
appropriate for
Yeah.
this is
Just leave
probably
it
more
the way it
appropriate for
is.
how you wanted to do it before, right? Where if we go to that if we go back to the header file, like the button is now wrapping both the value and the icon, right? So that's probably more
Right.
appropriate for how you wanted to do it before.
Right.
So
Cool.
on the button element is where we're going to add the SnipCart. Is it checkout? SnipCart checkout, I think, or cart.
Let's find. Oh, didn't mean to close that out. SnipCart checkout.
Yep.
So we have.
And
Yeah.
then on the span, we'll want to add that. Yeah, the other one.
And we grab that SnipCart total price.
Total price.
That's a really clever way to handle this kind of stuff. I'm still really impressed with how they kind of figured this whole thing out.
Yeah. And there we go.
So that you can do this without needing that secure backend. That's just awesome.
Yeah. So now the reason, so we'll get into more complicated bits about this later, but the prime reason we're not seeing it here is because we don't have the script actually initializing, right? So we need to move our SnipCart installation global. Did you end up adding the button metadata onto the before we move on?
No, I don't think I did. I think I got distracted.
Maybe just copy and paste that quick. That should be exactly the same, I would think.
I did
right?
actually, yep.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. So now, yeah, let's move that global. So we're going to create a custom document file. Cool. And we can see in the pages there that we have the app, but we want to create a document. And usually the way I do it, I just copy and paste it from the Snip Next.js documentation.
Cool.
Because they just have like the default document that you can start from. So if you could just Google Next.js document, it should come right up.
I don't really copy and paste from docs, Colby. I kind of like to memorize everything. Just I'm there's that kind of developer.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's nothing really. Thank you though, but go on.
But now, like that's the typical wrapper you'll see, right? So that's going to be the actual HTML and all that stuff. But this is typically under the hood for Next.js actually loading and initializing scripts and such within their own script loaders. But we're going to take advantage of this so that we can use the SnipCart stuff globally. So
awesome.
We can just start migrating that over.
Cool. So pop this in the head.
Yep.
Awesome. And thank you for that follow, Jax. Welcome. You are now an honorary horse. And grab the script
and the scripts
and this div. Cool. And we'll put that down under the body, or
so I think it should still be in the body, but at the bottom of the body. Now, one thing that I'll just call out quick is I was actually trying to use the Next.js script component before. And while that works beautifully if you're doing it inside of a single page, kind of like index.home, the JS, but because we're inside of the document, that Next.js script component won't work. And this is like my kind of just thinking is because I'm guessing it needs that next script component that we see above there to actually function, which, because we're inside that file, doesn't exist, right?
Got it.
That's just speculation, but that's my guess.
Awesome.
So now with that, we should have it loaded globally. And now if you refresh the product page, I think, unless we missed something, it should. No? Did we save everything?
We added a document, so we're gonna have to refresh the server for sure.
Okay.
Right? Like.
Oh, right. Yep. Good call.
Cool. And now it should be good. Yeah, it's not gonna. There we go. Cool.
Yay! Success.
Awesome. So
now we have that globally.
Yeah. So now if I go back home.
Now. So there's one caveat with this, and
I don't like caviar.
Trouble.
I don't want it.
Yeah. So this is where the disconnect happens between client-side implementations like SnipCart and client-side applications where the routing is client-side. Because as you navigate page to page in a React application, that entire DOM tree is going to get wiped out, and it no longer has that association. So SnipCart no longer sees those DOM elements that are actually happening. So there's solutions around this, but I created a SnipCart React hook just to make this easy.
All right.
So if you should be able to just Google use SnipCart, I think.
Thank you for the follow, Seneca Marcus. Use
Maybe use SnipCart
hook.
GitHub. I can send the link if it's not coming up. Yeah, it's not coming up. Let me grab the link. Should I post it in Twitch?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that. I just posted it in Twitch for you though.
Coming in with the Stoics, yeah. And yes, just one fish egg would be preferable, Nino. That's a good point. 2K followers maybe before 2022, maybe. I mean, I'm good with that goal. I'm good with that.
Fantastic.
Thank you for that stretch, Seneca.
So before we actually dive in here, I just wanted to clarify, like, do you kind of get the reasoning as to why the problem in the first place?
I'll try to explain it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. Well, you can tell me how I'm wrong. Okay. So my understanding is that well, no, how. So Document.js is basically wrapping all of the pages. So we put the JavaScript in Document.js because we want it globally. In other words, we want it on the individual product pages. Let me go back to here. Where are we? We want it on the home page and also in the individual product pages. So we pulled it up and put it in the document so that it's there. And so what happens is when someone goes to alexshorsestore.com, this page loads in, Next.js builds out, and all of this JavaScript is called. SnipCart goes into action, finds it searches the DOM for anything with the SnipCart classes on it, and it does whatever it does. It makes them clickable. It adds its slide out drawer thing, and then it kind of chills and waits for any of those clicks to happen or anything else to happen. With Next.js, when you navigate between pages, you don't load the page again, so SnipCart's JavaScript does not fire again. And so when you wipe that DOM tree and build it out again, SnipCart has no idea that that's happening, and so it doesn't look for any of those new SnipCart classes, and it's listening for click events that aren't gonna fire at that point.
Exactly.
And we need to let it know, hey, do your thing again, scan the DOM, find new stuff again. Is that?
Yep, pretty much. And if you even reload the page, like when you navigate and reload the page, you'll see that it even still works. So it's just a matter of that client side routing that's kind of ruining everything in that experience. So like if we want to head over to the hook, I think it'd be nice to actually like dive into what I'm actually doing before we actually install it.
Cool.
Because like I'm not doing anything crazy, and it's actually like one of SnipCart's like recommended ways of handling this kind of stuff. I just kind of wrapped it in a hook so it was easy to install. But you can see here like how we'll ultimately use it is we'll just use the use SnipCart hook when we had wrapped our application inside of providers to allow us to grab that global context, and then we'll be able to grab the values. But what's actually happening inside, if we head over to the let's see here, probably under use SnipCart, and then source, and then the use SnipCart file, I would imagine. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is at the top, I'm creating that provider, and that's not really doing anything special. It's just pre-creating that instance where the component of provider is going to initialize that state and pass it down through the context of the application. Cool. So that's just using React context at that point.
Right.
If we move on to the use SnipCart state, this is where we're actually setting up the functionality that's going to allow us to make stuff happen here. Because what this is actually doing is instead of relying on the classes inside of SnipCart to update the DOM, we're instead going to attach, and we're going to listen for and subscribe to the actual SDK. So if we see here, we're pulling to subscribe to window.snipcart, which is how we can actually interact with SnipCart through like the JavaScript SDK, right? So we're waiting for that to be available, and then we're going to capture that so that we can actually interact with it and grab data from it. So once we ultimately have that subscription and we have access to Windows SnipCart, from there, it's just requesting the data and passing it down through the tree of React components, which is where you can see there with the get state, that's going to grab that state of the store at any given time and allow us to pass it down through the React application.
Awesome. And so,
Does that make sense? I know that was a mouthful.
No, and so if I call and I'm going to call get state from within components, it's going to pass that down. So because SnipCart is providing this store, right? Like so this get state is actually something that SnipCart has created, and because we're using the SnipCart JavaScript.
So if you want to actually copy that snippet, if you want to copy that Windows SnipCart, if you want to copy that line without the return statement,
we can call that
and go back to the store. Yeah, and just like refresh the page and go to the console. And I say refresh the page just to make sure that we have it loaded.
There it is.
See, like, so all I'm doing there is waiting for that to be available and then just exposing it to the application so that we can be sure that we're always listening to that already initialized instance of SnipCart, where we can then do all of our interactions based off of that. And because we're subscribing to SnipCart, where they have that subscription method, and we're saying, SnipCart, tell us every time you make a change. That way we can fire off a state update and we can actually update all the components in our tree that need to be updated with the values. So at that point, we're using it like we would in a React application, right?
Right. That's great. It's a great little hook, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's I mean, just half of React is just small libraries that let me do the thing that I would do with vanilla JavaScript the React way, right? It's like, oh, cool. Right. I want to add MailChimp to my React app. Crap, no one's made a library for it just to kind of change it a little bit. Right? It's just...
Yeah, no, I know how you feel, because you know that I did a lot of mapping work, and that's exactly how it worked with Leaflet. Like, it wasn't React Native. It was just like a bunch of wrappers on top, and it sometimes got messy, but it worked.
It can be kind of a pain in the butt to get stuff to work the React way. Like Green Sock is fantastic. I battle with it sometimes personally just to do it the right way. It's not Green Sock's fault. It's just, all right, I forgot that React does this thing and I need to handle it this way. And so wrappers on wrappers on wrappers. Cool. So we've got this great hook. Let's install it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for walking us through.
So ultimately it's a NPM package. So installed
nice
like normal.
See, I'm worried about installing this though, because it seems like it's going to really blow up the size of my bundle. And
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked a little bigger than I would like. Can we get it pared down at all? That was like
I feel like I need to do a little bit of optimization.
File. It's like a 30-line file there, man. All right, so
I'll have to compress it a little bit more.
Where am I? Okay, so we're gonna put this provider in the document or in the app?
So I usually put it in the app. Yeah. Now like this is again like just my basic understanding of it, but I don't know how accurate it is between the document and the app. Is where like the app is going to be actually what is more interactive with the project as it's like loading through the different states, as opposed to document being like the source of all of it. So it's a little bit more static. I don't know if that's absolutely true, but that's kind of how I imagine it.
Kind of like what my mental model is with it. Yeah, like I don't have a great understanding of those two and the differences, but yes, my hunch was that we were going towards app, just because it's more of the app kind of part where like it's the create React app and the app injects into the DOM, and then the document's kind of more of the DOM and handles the DOM-y stuff, but it's also React.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that I don't have a very super clear understanding of that, and maybe I should fix that. So thank you for pointing.
I think we're both on the same page for that.
A little fuzzy. Chat, help us, chat. I learned so much just from chat being smart and knowing stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come in with the exact definition of which one is which. Awesome. So you got our SnipCart provider.
Yeah. So what we're doing here, again, like the SnipCart provider is just like a wrapper component that is essentially passing in the context and state throughout the entire application so that we can have access to it.
Cool. And then inside our pages, we will use this.
So... And the most important part here is for the cart value, because I believe that SnipCart will still actually trigger when you click something. Like, I don't know why there's a difference between that, but I think
Mm.
the triggering of the clicks will still work. And that might be because like when the page reloads, I don't know. But anyways, like the more
So
important part here that
my
gets stale.
my guess is it might be doing a like, so to go back to what we talked about, where like, you know, it adds its event listeners, because React is rerunning, it's not going to wipe, like Next doesn't know to get rid of the event listeners that were set up by SnipCart, and this is totally me guessing. I could be wrong here. So SnipCart probably sets up a window.add event listener and then checks inside that click to see, is this thing, like I don't think they're adding the event listeners to all of the buttons. I think they're adding the event listeners to the document or to the window, and then once that click comes in, they say, does the target have the class SnipCart? And then that's why it still works, but the data part's not going to happen, right? Like I'm thinking that's what it is.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Any SnipCart employees in the chat by chance? That'd be helpful.
If anybody ever has any questions about SnipCart, they're a great group over there.
They're wonderful.
And they're always happy to help out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing that we have left to do then in that case is use the SnipCart hook inside of the header file, because we want that value to be
cool.
dynamic, right? So we'll first import and then we'll put that at the top. Yep. And then the only thing we need to do, so we'll get rid of the class name for the SnipCart. We'll only get rid of the price name, actually, because again, the event listener is part of it.
What do you mean?
So remember we were just saying about the click events with the class name as
right.
opposed to the dynamic data. So we're just going to get rid of that class name like you did there. And then we can replace that. Well, we want to get rid of the class name total. So it's just the span element.
And then is this a ref or how does this work from here?
So all we do is we take, we replace that value, the $0.00. We'll replace that, probably leave the $sign, but we'll replace that with, I think it's cart.subtotal. Because at this point, like, we have that state inside of React, so we're really just grabbing that as data. Yes, it's
cool.
subtotal. Yeah.
Looks like something's rebuilding. $. Is it capital T? No, it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be. Here, if you go to the docs, I wonder what
it came up.
Oh, that's weird.
Just needed a really good refresh. Nice, and it doesn't flicker or anything as we navigate between.
Because it's at that global root, right? So that's not going to refresh. Right. So that's why it's able to still maintain that state, but pass down that state to the different components with the context API.
Awesome. Wow, this is great. This came out fantastic, man. Only thing I really want to do, the only thing I ever wanted to do was change the name of this to like horse something or other.
Horse Bros trading cards.
Yeah, we can do that. Horse and donkeys. Kongs. No, this is getting stupid. Horse. Let's just go. Trost, horse, and tack store.
Trost Ranch.
Ooh, Trost Ranch. Let's go.
Toasted Ranch.
Front end horse tack store. There we go. Take my name out of it. All right. Nice. Looking a lot better.
Beautiful. It is.
Awesome. Yeah, and so it's just wild to me that we're able to use Prismic as a. Oh, here we go. Nina Pepper says, front-end horse trading cards, the next hot NFT grift, coming to a Discord near you with our convenient shilling template. Nice.
Please.
We could fix the images and stuff like that, but I love that I could use something that I don't like a JSON file as my point of being my sales data and everything. That part's wild. I can use Prismic and just build pages the same way that I'm building any other website and just be like, oh, I have a new product, and then I can have a sales page related to that product and pull in certain things. Because like one thing I like about Prismic, and full disclosure, I work there, like, so take the grain of sand. But one thing I like is that I can choose the shape of the data entirely. So, and I can add slices and everything, and I can really build this out to be a full page that's based on this product, and go on to write essays and have a ton of pictures and do whatever the heck I want. Where I feel like with Shopify or with some other things, and I don't have a lot of experience, but I feel like I might be more limited with what shape Magento wants me to have, or what shape whatever else wants me to have, where this seems like a really flexible way to build out pages and products in all the different kinds of ways, and just have a ton of flexibility. And my costs seem like they're going to be pretty darn low. I feel like I've got, like right now, this is a free Prismic repository, not just because I work there, but because it's just the plan. How much does SnipCart take? Like 5% or something? Do you know what it is?
Don't quote me on this. I think there's like a certain percentage below like $500 in sales or something like that. And then the rest of it is percentage based. Something like that. But it's very affordable for somebody who's creating a new store, or like, a small business or something. Because I think that's one of the more compelling things about solutions like this for e-commerce. Thank you. Beautiful.
I think that's one of the more compelling things. I was.
Yeah.
The voice broke up as that happened. I'm really sorry.
That's how it is. But like, I think it's one of the more compelling things about e-commerce solutions like this, because like it's, because you can really install it on any website, like you can really give somebody the opportunity to get their stuff out there, especially with the low cost overhead compared to solutions like Shopify. And, if you can afford that solution, like maybe that'll be a better solution for you. But like, it's pretty expensive for a new store,
Yeah, and I don't have to pay like a monthly fee or anything. So if my stuff isn't selling, I've got a Jamstack site, which is notoriously cheap. Netlify, if I'm not rebuilding every day, I'm not going to pay anything there.
Free Netlify site, yeah.
I've got my $10 a year domain at the most. And yeah, we see what happens. See if I get rich off of saddle gel inserts, or if I don't. Either way, it's a.
I'm waiting for you to come out with the peach flavor.
for the seat, or for the apple paste.
For the paste, the peach paste.
Every day, Colby DMs me, just, hey, is the new paste flavor out? Colby, no, you have a problem.
Talking about problems.
But you don't have worms, so that's the nice thing.
How hasn't Hades come up in this discussion?
That could be front end horse after dark. We can hang out and play video games, and talk about Hades all day. And I guess we could put in like a one thing we didn't put in, product description.
Yeah.
0 and then text.
And yeah, the nice thing too is
I made it worse.
We're probably not going to have time to get to it today, but like SnipCart also gives you a lot of options for theming, like so that you can make the cart look a little bit more like what your actual branding looks like. So that includes some kind of basic stuff like CSS properties, where you can control the colors and shadows and that kind of stuff. But you can also completely override components of that cart, where it uses Vue under the hood. So you can even like make it more dynamic with that kind of stuff, which I'm less familiar with Vue, but you do have that ability, which is cool.
That's really cool, man. Thank you so much for walking us through that. In just a couple hours, we've got a Next.js app that is running a Prismic backend with a few products in there. Spun this up just this morning, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, chat. And yeah, we've got some fantastic products. We set our prices, and we know it's a secure shopping cart. And yeah, it took very minimal setup, just dropped in a few scripts. And when we actually launched the thing, it seems like it's a pretty easy thing. I would scroll down and grab this real API key.
It's literally just swapping the API key.
And and then also my domain and URL, I would change it to like horse thing. Yep. Yeah, but I mean, like, but
Oh, and just to be, you also have to set up like your payment because like
Yes. Oh, nope, didn't mean to
you
do
need
that.
that stuff to get paid, right?
Yes. So yeah, so if I do this, it yelled at me before, but basically you need to like set up like a credit card to take in
Yeah.
like so that they can pay you.
And
They don't want to.
basically that list you see there, like they do a pretty good
Yep.
job. Like some of that's documentation. And so you see like the payment gateway and like they have a lot of options. Like I think you can do through Stripe, you can do through I think you can do through PayPal, and
That's
there's
awesome.
definitely like more international options too.
Cool.
So yeah.
Awesome. We gotta sell something. I'm disappointed that we did this whole stream and no one came in and bought any of our
Wow.
deworming.
Wow.
We'll try next time. We'll hand out some free samples
There you go. There you go.
at the mall or something.
Yeah.
But thank you
Free
so
pay
much.
samples. Yeah.
Yish says, just got a message from my new office. They want me to learn Angular before 1st of November joining date. Currently, I have zero knowledge of it. Any quick learning tips for it? If you market it as toothpaste, Pudata. That's not. Yish, I used to my job 2 jobs ago was as an Angular developer at I don't know why I stopped in that sentence, but yeah, I was an Angular dev. Any quick learning tips? Honestly, it is very different from React and Vue and Svelte. I feel like those 3 have a lot in common. Angular has a very like almost like a Java based approach to being a framework. It is a full big framework in my opinion. I don't know. I worked on like an enterprisey kind of app, so it was a lot more robust, and it feels like you have to go through a lot of steps to get things up and running. So I would grab a good course and just strap in. Unfortunately, I don't remember a ton of it, and I don't have a ton of like my own tips. So I
usually like to say just go build something.
Yeah.
Because like ultimately that's going to help you learn the most, right? Like maybe if you have your own personal website, rebuild it in Angular or something. That way, like you're familiar with the content and the structure. You're just trying to figure out that new, the new framework.
Yeah, kind of isolate the thing so that you're not learning, oh, I'm learning a new CSS thing, and I'm learning design, and I'm learning UX and UI, and I'm also learning Angular, and like 10 other things, and then you just kind of gets lost in the sauce. And
it also might help translate some of the concepts, right?
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, this is how you do routing in Angular. Oh, this is how you pass data down through components in Angular. So yeah, if you have experience with Vue, React, anything like that, or rather, I should say like a framework like Nuxt or like Next, try to build a similar thing that you built and see how those concepts transition. Great advice, Colby. And Marlon says build a clone of something, like a Twitter clone or something like that. That way you just focus on learning the intricacies of Angular. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Before you go, Colby, I do want to shout out you, if that's okay.
Well, thank you.
I love that someone came in immediately and said Colby is just a content beast because you put out so much stuff. No, I mean like you're just kind of everywhere. You've got a great YouTube channel. You put something there pretty much every week.
Thank you.
Thank you. You used to stream on Twitch, but now you're streaming on YouTube just about every week, right?
So I'm paused there just because I was doing like a limited series, but now I'm gonna restart that back up.
Great. You had Scott Tolinsky on. Who else did you have?
Jason Ball of WP GraphQL fame. I had Cassidy over at Netlify.
Yeah, some really great people.
Salma talking about Next.js.
Yeah, you had. Yep. Salma was great.
And I had the SnipCart team on there, and we talked about SnipCart, so that's a great episode too.
Yeah, and you put out like 4 days ago, 1 week ago. You're putting out content there all the time, new videos. Yeah. If you're interested in anything, Jamstack, follow Colby on Twitter, on YouTube, at his house when he's at the grocery store. Follow him everywhere you can. Yeah, and that is what's the name of
Cosmo?
I was about to say Astro.
We're gonna call him Adam. Oh,
I was gonna say Astro. Cosmo and Astro are pretty close, and Astro would have worked too. But
yeah,
I've been using Astro the framework a lot, so maybe that's
Cosmo
why.
the space jellyfish. Yeah, there
He's
you go.
great. Yeah, such a cool design. So yeah, Colby is just a fantastic person. Like I said, we've been pals for a while, and I'm thrilled to have you here, man. And good luck at Jamstack tomorrow and Thursday. You're gonna do great.
Let me just give 2 quick shout outs. So Thursday, I'm doing a workshop where, as part of Jamstack Conf, where I'll take you through this process of setting up your online store, along with a ton of other things like customizing your shopping cart and even building like a little search thing in it. But also, I have a course on Level Up Tutorials with similar content if you'd prefer the course format. So leveluptutorials.com. It's called Ecommerce on the Jamstack, where I even show you how I actually build out that React hook for SnipCart, where it's a little bit more in depth. So I would love to see all of you at either of the locations. The workshop is limited, so make sure you sign up before that gets sold out. But if it sells, here I'm talking as if it's going to sell out.
So yeah, this is Colby's tutorial on Level Up Tutorials, which is a fantastic tutorial site. Congrats on getting on there, because that's
Thank you.
kind of an exclusive thing. There's not a ton of people on there. It's mostly been Scott, and then he's brought on some really great people. So you should definitely take it as a badge of honor for being welcomed into that family. So. Yeah. But chat, if you have any questions, Colby is in our Discord, and you can always ping him at his Discord on Twitter. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the Discord and ask those. We are going to raid someone. We're going to find out who it is. It's a mystery raid. That's just what I say when I don't know who we're raiding yet. But stay tuned, because let me see if you'll guess who it is. It's going to be so wild.
Ooh.
I love this person. They're so cool. So
I think I know who it is.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Definitely. So let's go raid them, because they're great. And we will see you tomorrow. We have Luke Bailey on. We're going to build something super cool. 3JS Globe. It's gonna be fantastic. So definitely be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Pretty much now, but tomorrow, 24 hours. See you in 24 hours. Chat, thank you so much. Take care, everybody. And Colby, thanks again, man. See you later.
Thank you.